There is a golden window, a brief and sacred period at the beginning of each day where destiny is shaped, not by fate, but by intent. It is in the first 20 minutes of your morning where your mind is most open, most pliable, and most powerful. What you do in these few moments determines who commands your thoughts, you or the world. The average man stumbles into the day. He reaches for his phone, absorbs the fears of the news, the noise of others, the distractions of social media. In doing so, he hands over his power before he has even claimed it. And he does this day after day, wondering why life feels out of control, why peace is elusive, why success slips through his fingers. He does not realize the price of those 20 minutes until years have passed, and by then, regret has built a home in his soul. But the 1%, the men and women who rise, who lead, who build lives of significance, they use those 20 minutes with precision. They do not start with reaction. They begin with intention. They command their minds before the world has a chance to. In silence and solitude, in reflection, they shape the thoughts that will shape their day. This is the time to affirm your definite purpose, to feed your mind with vision, to read, to write, to meditate, to pray, to visualize, to direct thought rather than be directed by it. These 20 minutes are not for the world. They are for you, and they are sacred. When you train your mind before the world invades it, you begin to own your life. You are no longer pulled by emotion or chaos. You are driven by principle. When you use this time daily, you align yourself with your purpose. You install belief. You build confidence. You set the tone for achievement, clarity, and peace. And over time, this simple habit becomes the root of your greatness. Ignore this practice, and the price is high. Years lost, potential wasted, dreams delayed. But adopt it, and soon, success will not feel like a mystery. It will feel inevitable. Because the man who controls the first 20 minutes controls the course of his day, and the one who controls the day controls the direction of his destiny. The world will pull at you. It will tempt you with noise. But remember this, only 1% choose to lead themselves before they try to lead the world. Choose to be among them. The first 20 minutes of your day set the emotional and mental tone for the next 24 hours. Use them with intent or be ruled by chaos. The first 20 minutes of your day set the emotional and mental tone for the next 24 hours. Use them with intent or be ruled by chaos. This simple truth is ignored by the masses and mastered by the few. It is during those first moments after you wake that your mind is at its most suggestible, its most receptive, and its most powerful. Like wet cement, what you impress upon it early will harden and hold throughout the day. You either take command or allow life, people, and circumstances to command you. When you open your eyes in the morning, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to control, focus, and purpose. The other leads to reaction, confusion, and distraction. The difference is not luck, talent, or even effort. It is intention. It is how you use those first minutes when your subconscious mind is wide open, when your body is transitioning from rest to readiness, and when your soul is silently asking, what shall we become today? The average man reaches for his phone. He scrolls through noise, absorbs problems that are not his, and fills his mind with other people's agendas. Before he even rises from bed, he has lost control. His energy is scattered, his emotions unsettled, his focus hijacked. This is not how champions begin their day. This is how drift begins. And drift is the silent killer of dreams. But the individual who chooses discipline over distraction sets a different course. He rises with purpose. He gives his first attention to the inner world, not the outer noise. He breathes deeply. He affirms his purpose. He visualizes his goals. He gives thanks for what is and focuses his mind on what will be. These acts may seem small, even trivial, but done daily, They become the scaffolding of strength. Clarity is a product of intentional thought. Motivation is not found in quotes or videos. It is built by aligning your thoughts with your purpose before the demands of the world flood in. When you choose stillness before stimulation, reflection before reaction, creation before consumption, you send a message to your mind and spirit. I am in charge here. That message echoes throughout the day. The mind loves order. It craves direction. If you do not give it one, it will borrow one from the outside world. But borrowed direction rarely leads to fulfilled purpose. Your first 20 minutes must become sacred. Guard them, shape them. Use them as a time to rehearse your vision, to ignite your energy, and to remember who you are and where you are going. Even 5 minutes of focused visualization, prayer, journaling, reading, or breath work can reshape the entire trajectory of your day. Momentum begins not with action, but with intention. And the intention must begin before the world has a chance to place its hand on the wheel. Success is not an accident. It is a series of well-designed mornings, stacked consistent. Each time you rise and choose intention over chaos, you strengthen a part of yourself that the world cannot touch. You become the calm in the storm, the builder of your future, the master of your fate. Let others stumble into their days with no direction, ruled by external chaos. You must be different. You must be deliberate. When you win the first 20 minutes, you've already won half the battle. It's not about perfection. It's about claiming your power at the earliest hour. You are not just waking up your body, you are waking up your potential. And what you do with that window determines everything that follows. In your most receptive state, just after waking, feed your mind with vision, gratitude, and purpose, not with opinions and noise. In your most receptive state, just after waking, feed your mind with vision, gratitude, and purpose, not with opinions and noise. The first moments upon rising are not ordinary minutes. They are sacred. The mind, having been cleared by sleep, is like fertile soil, fresh, unguarded, and wide open to suggestion. It is during this time that the seeds you plant take deepest root, growing quietly beneath the surface and influencing every thought, action, and decision throughout your day. Most people squander this window. Before they even rise from bed, they reach for their phones, scroll through social media, read emails, or immerse themselves in news and negativity. In doing so, they surrender their mind to the chaos of the world before ever choosing their own direction. They feed themselves fear, anxiety, and distraction. They begin their day responding to the outside world rather than commanding their inner one. And by the time they realize they feel scattered or overwhelmed, the damage has already been done. But there is another way. The 1%, the builders of destiny, the architects of success, understand the power of the mind's early state. They guard their mornings as a master craftsman guards his tools. They know that the thoughts they choose upon waking become the blueprint of their day. They begin with vision. They see in their minds the future they are building. They imagine themselves already in possession of their desires. They speak their purpose with conviction and clarity. This is not fantasy. It is alignment. It is training the subconscious mind to believe before results appear. Gratitude is the second powerful tool in these moments. While the world teaches you to chase more, to worry about what you lack, the truly wise begin with thanks for what already is. Gratitude opens the heart and quiets fear. It replaces lack with abundance and prepares the mind to receive. A heart anchored in appreciation cannot be easily shaken by daily storms. When you begin your day grateful, you prime your spirit to see opportunity instead of obstacles, lessons instead of losses. Then there is purpose. It is not enough to have goals. You must remind yourself daily of why those goals matter. Purpose is what transforms effort into mission. It gives you the power to endure the hard days, to overcome distractions, to rise again after every setback. The morning is the time to reignite your purpose, to speak it aloud, to write it down, to declare to yourself and the universe, this is who I am, this is where I am going. This is why I will not quit. When you begin your day with vision, gratitude, and purpose, you are not just preparing for success, you are commanding it. You are putting yourself in the driver's seat. You are choosing creation over consumption, direction over... You are feeding your mind what it needs, not what the world throws at you. This practice, done consistently, creates a mental fortress. It makes you resilient in the face of negativity. It makes you clear while others are confused. It makes you grounded in truth while others chase trends and noise. Eventually, this ritual becomes identity. You no longer have to force discipline. It becomes who you are. The world will always offer opinions, fears, distractions, and chaos. But you must decide what you will accept, what you will allow into the sacred space of your mind, especially in those first quiet moments of the day, when your soul is listening most closely. Choose wisely. For what you feed your mind in your most receptive state, you will live out in your most productive hours. Start strong, start true, start with intention, and you will end with greatness. Train your thoughts before the world trains them for you. If you do not program your mind, someone else will train your thoughts before the world trains them for you. If you do not program your mind, someone else will. This truth lies at the heart of all personal power, yet few recognize it. Most people believe they are thinking independently, acting from free will, and choosing their direction in life. But the truth is more subtle and more dangerous. Unless you consciously and consistently train your thoughts, the world will do it for you, and the world rarely has your highest potential in mind. From the moment you wake, forces begin to act upon your mind. Media, marketing, social conditioning, news cycles, opinions of friends, expectations of family, messages from culture. These are not neutral influences. Each carries a perspective, an agenda, a vibration. They shape what you value, what you fear, what you pursue, and how you feel about yourself. If you are not guarding the gates of your mind, these influences march in and build a home. Over time, you begin to mistake these programmed patterns for your own thinking. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions become habits, and habits, repeated daily, define your destiny. That is why the quality of your thoughts is not a casual matter. It is a life or death decision for your dreams. If you allow the world to dominate your thinking, it will install fear where you need faith, confusion where you need clarity, and passivity where you need action. The mind is a tool, but it can also be a trap, especially when it is running someone else's programming. To reclaim your power, you must become the master programmer of your own mind, and this begins with intention. Just as an athlete trains their body before stepping onto the field, you must train your thoughts before stepping into the world. You must rise with purpose and install beliefs, goals, images, and emotions that serve your vision. This means taking time, daily, to direct your attention, to speak affirmations aligned with your purpose, to visualize success, and to study truths that elevate rather than diminish your spirit. This process is not about motivation. It is about mental conditioning. Like a muscle, your mind becomes stronger through repetition. It begins to reject what is false and embrace what is true. It becomes agile, focused, calm under pressure, and resilient in the face of setbacks. You begin to think with intention rather than impulse. You respond instead of react. You create instead of consume. And slowly, you stop living on autopilot and start living with authority. Understand this: the world is not evil, but it is noisy. It is not always malicious, but it is distracting. It will lead you in circles unless you lead yourself. You must be ruthless with your attention. You must question everything you hear and filter it through the lens of your purpose. Is this belief serving my growth or stunting it? Is this input aligned with the life I desire to build? If not, it must go. When you train your thoughts first, you move through life with a different energy. You are no longer easily swayed. You know what you want, and you know why. You see beyond the surface. You are not at the mercy of trends, opinions, or fear-mongering. You become a creator, a leader, a focused force. No one else will do this work for you. It is your responsibility to shape your inner world before the outer world does it for you. Your mind is your most powerful possession. Treat it that way. Protect it, direct it, train it every single day, because the man who commands his thoughts commands his destiny, and the one who does not lives according to a script written by others, often without even realizing it. A daily 20-minute habit of reflection, visualization, and affirming your definite major purpose will compound into unstoppable momentum. A daily 20-minute habit of reflection, visualization, and affirming your definite major purpose will compound into unstoppable momentum. This practice is simple in form, but monumental in impact. The truth is, success is not the result of one massive action, but of small intentional habits repeated with discipline. And when it comes to the mind, the tool through which all achievement flows, those habits must be designed to shape direction, fuel belief, and build resilience. 20 minutes a day may seem insignificant to some, but to those who understand the laws of the mind and spirit, it is the foundation of personal power. Reflection is the first key. It grounds you in awareness. It allows you to take stock of your current path, your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. Without reflection, you drift. You repeat old patterns unconsciously and allow days to pass without progress. But with reflection, you gain clarity. You identify what's working, what needs adjusting, and where your energy has been misplaced. Reflection aligns you with your higher self. It reminds you of your standards, your goals, and your values. It's not about judgment. It's about recalibration. It is the act of stepping outside the noise to hear the truth of your own mind. Visualization follows. This is not fantasy. This is mental rehearsal, the same tool used by champions, leaders, and visionaries throughout history. What you see repeatedly in your mind, your subconscious begins to accept as real, and the subconscious mind does not differentiate between reality and vivid imagination. When you visualize your goals as already achieved, when you imagine the feeling of success, the sounds, the environment, and the results, you condition your mind to move toward that picture. This inner image becomes a magnetic pull that draws your habits, actions, and decisions into alignment with that vision. Your body will begin to follow where your mind consistently goes. Affirmation is the third piece of the process, and it is powerful beyond words. You must speak life into your goals. You must declare your definite major purpose daily, with emotion, with belief, and with conviction. Words are not just sounds. They are commands to the subconscious mind, and when repeated with feeling, they begin to overwrite the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that have held you back. You must tell yourself, I am capable, I am focused, I am building a life of purpose and wealth. You must affirm not just what you want, but who you are becoming. This is not wishful thinking. This is self-directed evolution. Now imagine the compound effect of this practice done daily. 20 minutes may not seem like much, but over weeks, months, and years, it becomes a force of nature. Every day, you are aligning with purpose. Every day, you are feeding belief. Every day, you are building clarity and momentum. And momentum, once in motion, is hard to stop. The average person spends more time scrolling, worrying, or reacting than they do consciously shaping their mind. That is why their lives feel scattered. But you will be different. You will be deliberate. This habit rewires your brain, strengthens your spirit, and sharpens your focus. It creates internal certainty that the world cannot shake. It gives you a calm confidence that grows from within. And as the days pass, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Life begins to respond to your inner work. Opportunities align. Ideas spark. People of like mind appear. This is not magic. It is cause and effect. Most will ignore this habit because it requires discipline, but you will honor it because you understand its value. You will trade 20 minutes of noise for 20 minutes of power. You will choose self-mastery over self-neglect, and in time, you will realize that the most successful days and the most successful life begin with the simple decision to invest the first minutes of your morning in reflection, visualization, and affirmation. That is how unstoppable momentum is born. The greatest leaders and creators protect their morning ritual fiercely. It is where they shape clarity and conviction before they take action. The greatest leaders and creators protect their morning ritual fiercely. It is where they shape clarity and conviction before they take action. They do not begin their days by accident or drift into activity without direction. They understand that the quality of their decisions, their focus, their emotional state, and even the impact they create is directly linked to how they begin each morning. To them, the morning is not simply a time to get ready. It is the time to become ready, internally and intentionally. This ritual is sacred because it is the foundation of all outward effectiveness. Before the world has a chance to place demands on them, before distractions take root, they meet themselves in stillness. They create space to think clearly, to feel deeply, and to reconnect with the highest version of who they are becoming. It is in these early moments that they solidify their vision, not merely for the day, but for their life. It is when they recall what matters most, not according to social pressure or noise, but according to purpose and inner truth. The morning ritual is a ceremony of preparation. It is where confusion is cleared and conviction is forged. It is where goals are not just remembered, but revived with energy and intent. It is where the mind is tuned to high performance, the emotions are settled into strength, and the spirit is directed toward contribution and excellence. Without this daily inner alignment, even the most talented person can become reactive, scattered, and ineffective. But with it, even the most ordinary individual becomes focused, powerful, and consistent. These creators do not scroll through their phones first thing in the morning. They do not give their attention away freely. They do not allow the agendas of others to shape their thoughts before they have shaped them themselves. Instead, they journal, they meditate, they read, they visualize, they pray, they affirm, they command their focus before the world has a chance to pull it in 1,000 directions. They are not waiting for motivation. They are generating it. They are not relying on circumstances. They are creating them. They know that their morning mindset becomes their daily momentum, and momentum is not a product of luck. It is built through repeated intentional choices. That is why they return to this ritual every day, not once a week, not when they feel like it, but daily, because they understand the law of compounding. They understand that just as compound interest builds financial wealth, compound clarity builds mental and emotional wealth. Every morning invested builds another layer of certainty, another degree of control, another ounce of belief. This ritual is not about perfection. It is not about rigid discipline for the sake of pride. It is about empowerment. It is about taking ownership of one's inner world before stepping into the outer one. When leaders and creators take this time for themselves, they are not being selfish. They are being strategic. For how can you serve others powerfully if you have not first centered yourself? How can you lead others through chaos if you are led by chaos within? Your morning is your edge. It is where the blueprint of your day is drawn. It is where the architect of your life shows up to work before the noise of the world clouds the vision. Protect it as you would protect a flame in the wind. Nurture it, honor it, because from that flame comes the fire of all achievement. Success is not built on scattered thought and emotional instability. It is built on clarity and conviction, and those are forged in the quiet discipline of a protected morning ritual. In that first hour, before anyone else lays claim to your time, lay claim to your thoughts, your purpose, and your power, because when you win the morning, you set the tone to win everything that follows. Regret is built on missed moments of control. Power is built by claiming the ones you have, especially the first 20 minutes of each day. Regret is built on missed moments of control. Power is built by claiming the ones you have, especially the first 20 minutes of each day. Most people live their lives in a passive trance, waking up each morning and slipping unconsciously into old routines, reaching for distractions before intention, and reacting to the world before deciding who they want to be in it. They don't realize that these first minutes are not meaningless. They are the most critical real estate of the day. What you do in the beginning sets the rhythm, the mental chemistry, and the emotional foundation for everything that follows. There is a law of inertia at play. What begins in disorder usually continues in disorder. If you start your day stressed, scattered, or disconnected, your mind continues on that track. But if you begin it with purpose, calm, and direction, that energy compounds. And while many spend a lifetime chasing success, wondering why their goals always feel out of reach, the truth is, they are giving away their power in the moments that matter most. Those first quiet minutes, when their mind is still fresh, before the noise begins. It's not that people lack time, discipline, or intelligence. It's that they waste their most potent window of influence. The first 20 minutes after waking is when your mind is most open, when your subconscious is highly impressionable. What you feed it in that fragile state begins to form the lens through which you see your world that day. This is the moment to take control, to command your mental state, and to install thoughts and emotions that serve your higher purpose. Anything less is an invitation to regret. Power, real power, is not about domination. It's about direction. It's about the ability to decide where your focus goes, what beliefs guide your choices, and what standards you live by. And all of that starts with the thoughts you allow into your mind when it's most vulnerable. Will you let the world fill you with fear, comparison, and distraction, or will you fill yourself with vision, gratitude, and certainty? This is where the builders of legacy distinguish themselves from the drifters of life. They understand that if you want to build a future of meaning, you must dominate the present moment, especially the first one. So they rise with purpose. They take the time to breathe, to reflect, to reaffirm their goals. They speak their mission aloud. They visualize success. They affirm their identity. And through this simple habit, they begin each day in command, not of the world but of themselves. This isn't magic, it's method, it's habit, and it's available to anyone. But only a few will respect it enough to practice it. Only a few will realize that greatness is not decided in one big moment, but in a series of small, consistent ones. It's what you do with the time no one sees that determines the results everyone wants. Regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from knowing you had a choice, and you didn't take it. It comes from knowing you had a moment of power, and you let it slip. But the antidote to regret is available every morning. The first 20 minutes are a blank canvas, a sacred space where no one else has yet touched your thoughts. Use that time, protect that time, shape that time, because if you do, the day will not just happen to you, you will shape it with intention. And a day shaped with purpose, over time, builds a life filled with power. That is how you eliminate regret. That is how you rise into your full strength, one intentional morning at a time.